My brothers and sisters, I know that the hour is late, and I don't blame those folks who've been walking out. And if I don't hurry up and do what I'm going to do, you're going to leave too. And nobody be here, all right? Now look here, I believe there are 10 commandments. Just give me, I'll take 3 minutes off the 10. That's 7 minutes. That's all right? 7 days in a week. Can I do that? Yes. Because I understand I was late. We thank God for all of you. Let me say to the committee, thank you for allowing me this opportunity to come here on this evening, to the Norristown municipal officials, and to all of our elected officials, to the dignitaries who are here, to Captain Bridget, the chairperson of this committee, and to all of you, I consider you dignitaries. To God be the glory. Amen. Now, I prepared a whole lot here, but I got some common sense. If I were in my church, I would just open up the doors and we would go home. You understand? That would be it, because you've been here. Let me say this, 25 years ago, Dr. Ralph David Abernathy came here, as you know, for the groundbreaking. It was my honor to preach his eulogy because Ralph was my personal friend, like my brother. All of my people come from Montgomery County, Alabama. Montgomery is actually in the city, but my folks came from the country, and you got to tell it like it is. This little boy in 1956, when the Montgomery County bus boycott was still going on, my father had a 1955 green and white stick shift Bel Air Chevrolet. We drove from Detroit, Michigan to Montgomery, Alabama, and I rode with my dad to pick up the black women at the bus stops to take them to the homes of the other folks to clean them because they could not ride the bus. So a lot of what we're talking about today in terms of black history started off as Black History Week 1926 by Carter G. Woodson. 1976, isn't that interesting? That's when it became Black History Month. Well, 1976, when I arrived, Norristown was a borough. When I left here in 1981, Norristown was still a borough. But lo and behold, I've come back, and now you're a municipality, my God. My son and daughter, Micharl Jr. Micharl, were born at the Sacred Heart Hospital. Micharl was killed in an automobile accident in 1997. His sister Micharl and her older sister Lorna are still here. 1976, computers were in the embryonic phase, and now there are iPods, iPads, iPhones, iTunes, and even more. 1996, Microsoft with Bill Gates was just 1 year old, and Steve Jobs and Steve Wozniak were just teaming up to start what eventually became the Apple computer. In 1976, Bob Wright's hair was black, and now it is black and white. 1976, I had a head full of hair and wore a size 38. And now I'm almost bald and wearing a 42 and still stretching. Well, as Nina Simone used to sing, everything must change and nothing stays the same. For my next 5.5 minutes, we want to talk about now meeting the challenges of a changing society. Meeting the challenges of a changing society. 1812, the year that Norristown came into existence, we recognize there was the War of 1812, the United States going up against the British Empire. We recognize that Norristown is named after Isaac Norris, the member of the colonial Pennsylvania legislature. It was also Isaac Norris who commissioned to have the Liberty Bell encoded. And we want the Liberty Bell to ring all over America today. We want it to ring because when I was in school, I knew about Thomas Edison, I knew about Isaac Newton, I knew about Galileo, I knew about Copernicus, but I didn't know about Charles Drew, who made it possible for blood to be preserved. I was not taught that Otis Boyer developed the pacemaker black man. I was not told that the shoes I was wearing, the sole was able to stick to the bottom because of a machine that a black man by the name of Jan Matzlinger invented. I didn't know that the traffic signal that my daddy would stop in with his green and white Bel Air Chevrolet was created updated by black man Garrett Morgan. I didn't know that when my mama got her hair fixed, and my daddy would look at her with a twinkle in his eye, that it was fixed and looked good because of Madam C.J. Walker. And now you all been hearing cell phones go off all evening because folks didn't have sense enough to turn off before they came in. The beginning of the cell phone started with Harry Sampson, the black man. And even the elevator that you ride on, it was updated by a black man, Alexander Miles. But hold on, there was another black man by the name of George Washington Carver, who was able to make a multiplicity of things from peanuts and even a sweet potato. This black man taught at Tuskegee Institute, started by Booker T. Washington. But it was this black man that the Carver Community Center that is housed in Norristown is named for. My brothers and sisters, you need to understand that in 1997, when Bob, Brad, and I were leaving wherever we were leaving and cruising down the street and observing this boarded up building and saw a swimming pool that was there and not being used, I thought it was an injustice when I saw the little children running around in the streets but did not have that facility to go to. He did not tell you the whole story. We had to meet with the United Way. They wanted board changes. We had to fight. By the grace of God, and I'm grateful for members of Mount Zion AME Church. I did not know many of you, but it was that church that took a black boy who had just come from Columbus, Georgia, and nurtured me and allowed me to make it. But today, my brothers and sisters, we must understand that we're living in a changing society, and we must meet the challenges of a changing society. Why? First of all, we have to know and understand our history. Everybody in Norristown and everybody in America must understand that we all have contributed to the stabilization and the ongoing of this country. You stood and said the Pledge of Allegiance of a flag. Yes, we talk about the White House, 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue, but it was on the backs of black slaves who carried the parts to build that institution known as the White House. My brothers and sisters, yes, we talk about the fact that Barack Obama is now in the White House, but do you not know that he became president after being a senator? But you must understand, my brothers and sisters, that it was a black man by the name of Hiram Revels who was the first black United States senator representing the state of Mississippi. We've got to know our story, not only for African Americans to be proud of themselves, but we must tell our story so that white Americans will understand that we have always been people of dignity, we've always been people of pride, and we come from a country of dignity. Before you had the United States of America, you must understand that you had Ghana, you had Mali, you had Sangay on the continent of Africa. You must understand that before we came here, we had kings and queens and princes, and we were people of pride. You must understand that when you talk about the pyramids of Egypt, Egypt is on the continent of Africa. Pyramids built by black folks. All we're saying, let the Liberty Bell ring, let justice roll down like waters, and righteousness like a mighty stream. We cannot afford today to have our young children believe that they come from nothing. We are proud people. And if we're going to meet the challenges of a changing society, we must come together and work together. Our children are not going to put up with the foolishness that we put up with. We talked about racism, we talked about hatred, but let's set the record straight. I'm glad to see my brother Benny here, whose roots comes from Sicily. Did you not know that the northern Italians did not like the southern Italians? And they even looked down upon those from Sicily even more? We get caught up, black folks, in thinking that racism is just black and white. There is interracial and intraracial problems. Don't get caught up in the trick bag. Today, our young folks, black and whites, are marrying. We're living in a globalized world where people of different faiths are even coming together. We cannot have a myopic or a tunnel vision. We must recognize this is a changing society. Second thing we need to understand, my brothers and sisters, today, that because of the dynamics of change, too many of our people emotionally have not been able to deal with it. Look what happened the other day in Utah, where a man killed his own 2 sons and took his life. When we talk about mental health, it's not a black or white issue, it's a human issue. It's for the interest of all of humanity. You have right here in Norristown, the Norristown State Hospital. With what we have gone through, many people have taken their own lives and they have suffered from depression and they have had nervous breakdowns. But hold on. I've come back here today because my time is almost up to let you know this. Just on Monday of last week, I talked to Juanita Abernathy and Abernathy's baby boy, Kwame. And then my wife and I have just moved to Flint, Michigan. We were unpacking some boxes. And I ran across in one of the boxes the birth record of my son, Micharl Jr., and I almost lost my mind. It was his fault. He was speeding in his friend's car, lost control, hit an embankment, and the airbags did him more harm than good. They crushed his organs when it exploded. But here I saw that. And then a short while later, I saw a book that was a tribute to him when he died. He was killed on June the 14th, 1997. But John Mbidi, some of you have heard of him, that great African philosopher, talks about African religions and philosophy. And those of us of African descent, we believe in the spirit. We believe that the spirit of our ancestors live on. We believe that when people die, they're just gone physically, but they're still with us spiritually. So I got in contact with the spirit of my son, Mikey. For if Ezekiel could be led by the spirit into the valley of dry bones, I sure enough could be led by the spirit to talk to my boy. I said, Mikey, how you doing? He said, Dad, I'm okay, but you got to stop crying and you've got to move on. I said, Mikey, well, can you put Ralph on the phone? You know Ralph just like your uncle. Tell him I want to talk to him. Ralph came to the phone. I said, Ralph David Abernathy, how you doing? He said, oh, Micharl, we all right up here. I said, well, go get Martin for me. Let me just talk to Martin for a moment. Martin came to the phone. I said, Martin, I'm going to Norristown, Pennsylvania. I've got to speak there for Black History Month. And a few weeks ago, they honored you. That 25 years ago, they had a groundbreaking for a monument to you. But Martin, if you had to tell me one thing to tell them, and I have to make it short because there's going to be a whole lot of long-winded folks getting up before me and taking up all my time. So I won't have a lot of time to tell the story. I said, Martin, please tell me, what can I tell the folks? Martin said, Micharl, just tell them to keep on pushing. Well, Martin, if I tell them to keep on pushing, what scripture should I use? He said, go to Philippians 4:13. Where it says, I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. Let them know that they can do all things through Christ who strengthens them. He said, but also I want you to go over there to the book of Romans. Let them know they must understand who shall separate us from the love of Christ. Shall tribulation or distress or persecution or famine or nakedness or peril or sword. As it is written, for your sake we are killed all day long. We are counted as sheep for the slaughter. Yet Norristown, in all these things we are more than conquerors through him who loved us. For I am persuaded tonight, I believe in my soul tonight, that neither death nor life, angels nor principalities, nor powers, nor things present, nor things to come, nor height, nor depth, nor any other created thing shall be able to separate us from the love of God which is in Christ Jesus. We got to keep on pushing. We got to keep on pushing, knocking down racial barriers. We got to keep on pushing, make sure that every child gets a quality education. We got to keep on pushing to make sure that justice is for everybody. We must keep on pushing. In the words of Micharl Alexander in her book, The New Jim Crow, we cannot allow mass incarceration to be the order of the day. All of us have made mistakes. And the only reason that some of us didn't go to jail is because we didn't get caught doing what we did. I know tonight we want to revere Bill Clinton. Bill Clinton is from Hope, Arkansas, and my wife is from Pine Bluff. But as Bill Clinton has started the 3 strikes and you out, many of these young black boys feel hopeless, can't stay in public housing if you have a record. Folks won't hire them, but the black church still must stand and let them know that no matter how far down you've been, the Lord can still pick you up, clean you up, and set you on solid ground. So, Chairman, I ask for a point of personal privilege. I just need 45 more seconds. Let me tell you this. You got to keep on pushing. Don't let anything stop you. For the greatest handicap is fear. The best day is today. The easiest thing to do is find a fault in somebody. The most useless asset is pride. The greatest mistake is giving up. The greatest stumbling block is ignorance. The most disagreeable person is the complainer. The worst bankruptcy is the loss of enthusiasm. The greatest need is common sense. The best gift is forgiveness. The greatest moment is now. The greatest knowledge is God. And the greatest thing in the world is love. Keep on pushing, Norristown. Keep on pushing. Let justice go down like walls. Let righteousness come down like a mighty stream. One of these days, my grandchildren and my great-grandchildren will be able to walk down every street. And they will not be singing, we shall overcome, but they will be singing, we have overcome. I serve a risen Savior who's in this world today. My God is able to do all things. Keep on pushing with the right spirit and the right attitude. I love you, Norristown.